Hey, Brain Police, I am not making an argument from the social contract. I'm well aware of the problems with the social contract, both for me personally and also for the people that I am currently discussing these issues with. I do try to listen and take the elements into account that I'm hearing. I don't take all of the conclusions. People say that they are compassionate and want justice, but their system doesn't seem to promote justice as I see it. I don't have to accept their interpretation of their own system. But I do understand and want to take things like, your definition of property or whatnot into account. I know that the social contract does not satisfy you because this is an implied contract with some other entity. I'm not using the model of the social contract. I'm using a model of shared property. You could say historically, well, that isn't how we got to where we are, but we're not going to go back in time and make legitimate, illegitimate history. The question is, how would we build a system if we're starting, right now? And I'm using a model of shared property to say where how our system can be viewed legitimately. And if you have shared property, and in this video I made on the example with a private club, there would be no problem if 100 people come together into a private club and decide how they want that to work. There isn't a problem with 51 of those people voting and that being the rule. There doesn't have to be unanimous consent among people that have gone into a cooperative. If they want to say, well, we'll go with 51% or we'll go with 2/3% or we do need unanimous consent, they can say whichever of those things. So if they say 51%, then that would be fine. And I think that's true of all communal property. So, and if somebody dies and leaves that property to their children, and the children are now part of that club, that doesn't mean they can just get to renegotiate all the rules. That property is encumbered with certain rights under which that property was shared previously, and it's still shared that way. So the model you need to be answering is a model of shared property. I'm saying that citizens of this nation, the bottom-up approach to this infrastructural state is that the people of this nation have some property in common where they are shared owners, okay? And that's the model we're dealing with, okay? It's not a model of some contract with an entity which may or may not be too abstract to take seriously. Talking about we own this property together, and how would you run an organization, how would you manage the property held in common? Um, However you handle it is something similar to an infrastructural state. Not a governing state, but an infrastructural state. So that's really what I would like to get answers on, is this model of shared property. I'm not arguing for a traditional idea of a social contract. It invokes contract to a certain degree because there's an agreement between these parties. But the model is that of shared property. Okay, we share property. How does that work out when you share property? Okay, cheers.